So hello and happy July 3rd. This is the Gray Knight. Um, and this video I'm going to call, we'll just call it by Biden's nickname, Creepy Joe Biden. And I think the point of this video is largely going to be explaining why the name fits. Um, the last the last videos I made were largely policy driven, and this one I think I want to go more into Mr. Biden's character or lack thereof. Uh, Site you're looking at here, this is Joe Biden.info. Now, right out of the chute, in the interest of full disclosure, I will say that there are a number of social media sites, specifically Facebook and Twitter, that have pretty much banned linking to this site. I'm not really sure the reasoning behind this. I mean, officially, the policy position is that it's fake news. The only problem with that is if you're looking at this with me, these are actual videos and photographs of Mr. Biden. And some of these are pretty well known videos and photographs of Mr. Biden. So how this is fake news, I'm really not sure. But anyway, so this is the site I'm visiting with you guys today. So Mr. Biden seems to have a real problem with keeping his hands to himself. I mean, there's several well-known recent examples of him putting his hands on women, and in some cases, really young girls. I mean, here's one example. This is fairly recent, and if I can get this video to play, I'll be doing real good, because of course now it's not going to do that. But you can see here he's feeling this little girl's face, and you can tell she's pretty creeped out about it. I mean, she's pretty young. I'm gonna guess less than 10 years of age. Don't take that as a absolute statement of fact, because I'm not certain, but she's pretty young, and this is fairly recent. And she looks creeped out. Even at that age, she recognizes this is inappropriate. Here's another real shining example of Joe Biden being a creep. Let's see if I can get this one to play. For some reason, my browser doesn't like me today. Oh yeah, see, there's the kiss and the sniff. And you can tell she's not real happy about it either. Oh, and he's hanging on her arm. That's nice. Let's see, what else do we have here? Here's a real little kid. And again, he's hanging all over her and kissing her when she can tell she doesn't like it. She's creeped out. And there's one more that I think is probably one of the most egregious of all of these. And let's see if I can find it here. I know it's on his site. I just have to find it again. Well, there's a photograph of another little girl. He's feeling her face. But this one, let's maximize that, shall we? Well, if it will maximize, it doesn't seem to want to maximize. Anyway, watch his hand. See where it's going? And this kid, as young as she recognizes this isn't right. Let's play that again so you can get a good look at that. Watch where his hand goes. Right over the breast, or where the breast would be if this wasn't a really, really young child. I'm not sure if Biden is just is a pervert, or if it's more likely, or if it's simply that he has never been held to reasonable boundaries. I'm inclined to think it's the latter, and I say that because I'm a firm believer in the old logical rule that simplest explanation often being the correct one. I would say it's most likely that this individual, Mr. Biden, just has never been made to respect boundaries. I mean, he's been part of the political class pretty much all his adult life. And I think it's fair to say the political class in this country is not held to the same standards of accountability as the general citizenry. Especially when you're talking about, and I'm sorry to be partisan about this, but Democrats. Democrats tend to get a free pass for a lot of things that anyone else would get prosecuted for. So why is this important? Well, I think it goes to his character. He clearly doesn't respect boundaries. He clearly behaves as though he can do whatever the hell he wants. And point of fact, there's some truth to that, but nevertheless, that tells you something about what this man's attitude is. I can do what I want. I can behave inappropriately, and you can't touch me. And there's no denying he did this. I mean, this is caught on videotape. This isn't one of those deals where it's an allegation without proof. This is stuff that's been caught on recent videotapes. I mean, some of these were caught in the last year and a half, 2 years. So this is recent behavior by this guy. I'm not even going to talk about Tara Reade really that much, other than to say that I believe Mr. Biden deserves a fair, to be treated fairly on that, and all the same presumptions I think anybody else should be entitled to. In other words, I don't think we should assume he's guilty in that instance without hard proof. Because, quite frankly, that was what was done to Brett Kavanaugh, and I object to how he was treated because I think that was extremely unfair. It was a rush to judgment, and there really wasn't a whole lot other than naked allegations in the statements of the alleged victim, who changed facts and didn't recall large portions of what happened, and her statements were inconsistent with the recollections of other people who were alleged to have been there, and so on. And then there's the fact that it was a 30-year-old allegation, and this is kind of the same thing. And yes, I believe Mr. Biden should benefit from should be receiving the same benefit of the doubt, unless and until actual hard evidence surfaces to show that he really did what Tara Reade accused him of. And I'm not going to get into the gory details because I don't think it matters. I should say I don't think it matters. I don't think it's necessary for my point. Let me rephrase that. If he did do it, it certainly matters, and it is an allegation. It should be taken seriously and investigated, just like the allegations of Kavanaugh should have been taken seriously and investigated, and they were. Probably not in the right forum, since it was the Senate instead of law enforcement, but what are you going to do? And that was, by the way, the choice of the victim, who decided to go to Senator Feinstein, who she darn well knew would politicize it, as opposed to law enforcement, who might have actually gotten an appropriate investigation going, and if there was a crime, would have been in a position maybe to prosecute it. I'll say the same about Tara Reade. Go to law enforcement and, let them investigate. And yes, these allegations should absolutely be taken seriously. They should be taken seriously whether made against a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or anyone, because it's a serious allegation. If it's true, it's a felony, and a major felony at that. If it's not true, well, best to uncover it, because this kind of thing, when it's bandied about, destroys a person's reputation. Now, if you really did it, you deserve to get your reputation destroyed, without a doubt. But if you didn't, then you deserve to have your name cleared. And you should not be walking around forever after under a cloud of accusation, if the accusation is just that, an accusation that's unproven. Anyway, that particular fact, I will give Biden the benefit of the doubt and say, I don't know. I will assume he didn't do it until it's proven that he did do it, although I do think it warrants investigation. This other stuff that we're looking at here, I don't think there can be any doubt when he was caught on video, when it was like publicly done in front of witnesses. This is different than what Tara Reade alleged. In this case, he clearly is being inappropriate. And at least one case here too, that this one here that I replayed twice. The other ones that were inappropriate touching, I mean, whether it's sexual or not is arguable. Although kissing tends to have that undertone, especially when it's kissing plus stroking of the face. But this is particularly bad. I mean, he touched this little girl's chest. That's pretty clearly sexual. And it wasn't an accident, because if you watch, he pulls her back against him and does it again, puts his hand right back in the same place. The girl knew what it was, at least to the extent she knew he shouldn't be touching her there. And he pulls her back and puts his hand right back there. That was clearly sexual. Um, that this kind of thing tells you that this is a man who, at a minimum, clearly has the attitude he can do whatever the hell he wants and there's no consequences. And I would say that was a major reason why I would not support Hillary Clinton back in 2016, when she went on the record to admitting to having mishandled classified emails and run them through an illegal, and let's not mince words here, an illegal homebrew server, and then basically took an attitude of, you can't touch me for it. Sadly, she's so far been proven right. Comey swept that one under the carpet real quick, and let me back up. Loretta Lynch pretty quickly stepped aside, and Comey basically swept it under the rug, and nothing was done. Sadly, nothing's been done. So she was kind of right, but the point I'm getting at is, this is what I would describe in no uncertain terms as a lawless attitude. I mean, what Biden's doing here, if it was meant as a sexual touch, that's a felony. Depending on the jurisdiction you're in, it might be, the specific felony could be anything from sexual battery to like lewd molestation or something of that nature. But the point of it is, you are not allowed to touch a child in that way for sexual purposes. And quite honestly, he clearly knew what he was doing, because he pulls her back against him and then puts his hand there again. I certainly think it bears investigating. I think this is a reason he should not be considered for president, because this is what he does. As far as criminal charges, obviously he's again entitled to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, and I don't disagree with that. But I don't think, as far as what should we vote for this man or should we not vote for this man, I think this is absolutely fair game, and it should be held against him, because there's no doubt he did it. I mean, it's not in question. There might be some question, does that constitute any particular felony? Because it would depend on the jurisdiction you were talking about, whether you're talking state or federal, and then which state. And I'm not even going to begin to speculate, because I know that didn't happen in the state where I live, and I'm not familiar enough with the laws of any other states that I want to take a guess. And it would most likely be state law. But this should be clearly investigated. I'm sure it's within the statute of limitations. So we're not talking about a situation where it's a 30-year-old allegation. In fact, my recollection is this was a 2019 incident, although I'm not going to swear to it. He should be investigated. If it's found that there's probable cause to believe a crime was committed and that he committed it, he should be prosecuted. And anyone who's considering voting for this guy should flat out consider this, especially if you're one of those people who who objects to Trump because of some of Trump's admittedly offensive comments about women. And yeah, he did say some offensive stuff. And if it was taken a certain way, yeah, you could say it could be talking about criminal activity. Here's the difference. Trump's denied ever actually committing a crime, and no one's caught him on videotape actually committing a crime. The worst thing they were able to produce in 2016, as far as that goes, was an audio recording of him on a bus talking about, and I believe the term was how he could grab a woman by the pussy and get away with it. And yeah, you could interpret that a certain way to say that's talking about sexual assault. You could also interpret it as somebody who is rich, powerful, and a celebrity talking about how there are women, and this is not a popular viewpoint and not a popular thing to say. And no doubt I'm going to get a flag for saying this, but let's be honest, there are women who will throw themselves at celebrities. It's probably not right for the celebrity to take advantage of that situation, although if she's of age and consenting, okay, Do I like that happens? No. But what he's saying is accurate. And in point of fact, it's not direct evidence of any particular crime. And for the purposes of someone who is basically wanting to be the chief law enforcement officer of the country, I wouldn't say Trump is an ideal choice. I didn't think so in 2016. I don't think so now. But I don't hear Trump expressing an openly lawless attitude like this. The worst things Trump's done were mostly just making stupid, snotty, offensive comments. I think he's walked up to the line quite a few times. As to crossing it, arguable. And I surely don't think he's a virtuous man. But again, there's a difference between making stupid comments, even really offensive stupid comments, and getting caught on videotape with your hand on a prepubescent little girl's chest, and then putting it back after she tried to pull away. That's a whole different ballgame. I'm not going to sit here and say I think Biden is a pedophile. I think he's just inappropriate, because that's the simplest way to describe that behavior. Simplest explanation is that he's never in his life had to worry about boundaries, and so for him, he can just put his hands all over anybody he wants. But yeah, that is a lawless attitude. That is a I can do whatever the hell I want attitude. And it's certainly not befitting someone who wants to be the chief law enforcement officer of the country. While we're talking about Mr. Biden's lawless behavior too, let's pull up some other information, shall we? How about him threatening the president of Ukraine to fire the prosecutor who was investigating his son, Hunter, for corruption, and basically telling the president to fire this guy or we're going to withhold aid. And again, this is something he bragged about on television. It's not as though there was any real doubt that it happened. You can try to put a spin on it and say it was or wasn't illegal, but it clearly happened. And if it was protecting his own child, well, quite honestly, if it's not criminal, it probably should be. It's certainly corrupt behavior. And again, it's the same I can do whatever the hell I want and you can't touch me attitude. I mean, this is the point. And I'm going to pull that video up. I'm not going to play it on here, but I want to make sure that we can see a good, good view of where to find it. Just so that there's no question. There's the video. This links through, I believe, to, looks like it's YouTube. Like I said, I don't think I need to play it here. You know what? Yeah, I do. I want to play this because I think it's worth it to make the point. So I'll shut up in just a second here, and I will play this up. Well, there you have it, and that's video footage, again, undeniable. This is the kind of thing that Trump got impeached for alleged quid pro quo with Ukraine. And the Democrats were ready to remove him from office over this. And here you have Joe Biden, who did the same damn thing, and they're all in. No one wants to talk about this. Again, this goes to the whole deal about lawless behavior. And if you want to argue about Trump being lawless, I'm actually going to pull up the transcript from the Ukraine, just so that you guys can see it, and I'll post a link in the description here for the transcript from the Ukraine call that got Trump brought up on impeachment. And you read it for yourself, because I don't expect you to take my word for it. I say go read it for yourself. And then you compare that to what Joe Biden's talking about. This individual, Joe Biden, this man does not have any respect for the rule of law at all. It's basically the naked wielding of power is what he's about. That, and, for all the talk Democrats like to do about privilege, there's an example of it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody off the street did what he did and got caught on camera feeling up a little girl's chest, they'd be looking at felony charges. Now, they may get off of it later, but they'd definitely be looking at felony charges. There's no doubt in my mind. Especially in the way things are today, if a man did that, especially an older man like that, it would be hammer him first and then investigate later, if any real investigation occurred. And if he managed to duck getting convicted for a serious felony, it would be at significant legal expense, let me tell you. Plus, his reputation would be forever destroyed as a child molester. And yet somehow Biden gets a free pass. And I am not suggesting that he should be smeared as a child molester. That's not what I'm saying. What I am trying to illustrate is, one, the double standard, but two, that his behavior evidences that he thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants. And it's not like there's any doubt he did this. You can see him. You can see the expression on the girl's face. And this is not a one-off incident. As I've shown you, there's several well-documented incidents of this. These are not doctored videos. These are not photoshopped images. They are the genuine article. This guy is lawless. And he's asking you to make him president. Now you think about that for a second. Let's take it to a local level. If you had somebody who was a well-known criminal, fill in the blank for the crime, are you going to make them the sheriff of your county? Are you going to appoint them to are you going to elect them as the district attorney? I mean, it's not an exact one-to-one equivalent, but you get the idea. That is what this guy is asking for. And he's not a convicted criminal, I will grant that. But what he's doing, and what you can see him doing, is behavior that is lawless. This is somebody who thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants. And it is not somebody you want to make president, because you're going to hand him the ability, somebody who thinks they can just do whatever the hell they want and that laws don't apply to them, the rules of decency don't apply to them. I mean, forget criminal law for a second. Feeling up a little kid like that, even if you don't have enough to prove a crime up, that's just forgive the strong language, it's a shitty thing to do. She's clearly uncomfortable. She didn't like it. It's a little kid. It's a shitty thing to do. It is a shitty thing to do, and that's why, this is behavior that's absolutely inappropriate. All right, I'm gonna pull this up here. here's the this is on Fox News, and I'm sure somebody's going to listen to this and say that they're not a reliable source. But here's the thing: this is the actual transcript, and this is also on Scribed, by the way, not even on Fox News. And this is the actual transcript. Again, I'm not going to read this to you. I'm not. I don't think I need to. I think you get the point. I'll post this link so you can read the dang thing yourself. If you think this is a crime, then I don't see how you can look at what Biden did and say that's not a crime. I mean, that's basically what I have to say. So if this was sufficient to, if you believe this was a sufficient reason for Trump's removal, that's what the Democrats wanted to do. They should not be nominating Biden. Biden's act was more overt. He flat out told them, fire this prosecutor or no money. And he even said that in his own words. In fact, he used much more colorful words. And somehow he gets a pass. Why? Because he's part of the political class? Because he's got a D after his name? I mean, honestly, I would absolutely say if Trump genuinely committed a crime, I don't believe he did, but if he had, he deserved to be removed. As I say, I don't believe he committed a crime. I don't. I think that he probably should have been a little bit smarter about what he was asking for, but this looks to me like someone asking for an investigation on admittedly shady behavior on the part of the prior administration. And yeah, I have a problem with shady behavior no matter who it is. He should have been investigated. Now, it probably would have been smarter if Trump had somebody who was not directly under his thumb ask for this, but I'm not convinced it's a crime. I'm not. I've read this transcript. I'm not convinced there was a crime. This is pretty innocuous stuff. Possibly poor judgment on Trump's part for sticking his neck out, but not a crime. I can say other things about Trump that I'm not going to sit here and be a Trump defender. I'm not. But I can look at this and say that this is not, in my opinion, a crime. I will say that, and I'm not necessarily insinuating that it could have been a crime what Biden did, but what I will say is I say, if you're going to take the position that this is a crime, that what we're looking at on the screen now is a crime, then definitely what Biden did was a crime. Without a doubt, that was quid pro quo. And if Obama was involved, then Obama committed a crime too. But seeing as Obama isn't up for election right now, that would be something to keep in mind. But it's Biden that's up for election, so I think Biden needs to be, again, this is something to think about when you walk into that voting booth. Are you going to support somebody for the chief law enforcement officer of the country who has a lawless attitude? I don't think I need to belabor the point anymore. You get the idea, hopefully. Now, I mean, I'll give anyone listening to this credit for at least being interested in hearing one viewpoint on it. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim that I don't claim that I'm somehow have a lock on the truth. This is my viewpoint. It is opinion. It is not just news. It is opinion. I do think these are things you would be wise to consider before you go vote, and before you decide if you're either going to support Biden or step out of his way by voting third party. If you think that Trump is corrupt too, fine. Then here's something else to consider. Maybe the devil you know is better than the one you don't. We know what kind of president Trump is because he's been president for 4 years. We have no idea what to expect from Biden. But we've had plenty of evidence of his character, and we can see his own policy suggestions on his website. And none of this is very promising as to him being a leader who will respect the rule of law, a leader who will respect the Constitution, a leader who will be reasonable with his policies, who will make considered and cautious use of his power, which in some areas the president's power is quite extensive, and he has a lot of power to screw things up if that's what he wants to do, or if he's rash in how he uses his power. That's all I'm going to say about it for right now. I have 100% decided what the next topic is going to be, but I'll be posting another video pretty quickly. If you like this video, I encourage you, share it, subscribe to my channel. I'm not trying to make money off of this. I am attempting to spread a particular viewpoint, yes. I do intend to illustrate some of the problems with Mr. Biden as a person and Mr. Biden as a candidate and Mr. Biden's policies. And, if I persuade you not to vote for him, I won't lie. That's a good thing, because I don't think he's a very good candidate, but at the very least, I would hope you would pause and think about it. Not saying Trump is perfect. He's not. I don't necessarily think he's a very good candidate either. But I will tell you, between the two of them, I think he's probably the less dangerous. I'll have plenty of things to say about him too, don't worry. And they're not going to be nice. Some things maybe more than others, but I don't have a problem criticizing him either. I'm not a supporter of his. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you for listening. Like I said, if you enjoy this, like and subscribe, share it, because I'm pretty sure YouTube will bury this channel really quick. So while you get the opportunity, share it. Thanks. Bye.